Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Whitaker, trauma specialist, and I'm back today to kind of continue and extend the conversation I started last week. And if you saw last week's video in my newsletter, then you know that I was kind of talking about some basic definitions. And I was talking about awareness and why conscious awareness matters. I talked about the 4 stages of competence, and I gave you some skills that can help build awareness. And the key to those skills is focusing your attention on the inside, because that is going to build that interoceptive awareness skill. And I talked about interoception versus introspection a few videos back. So if you missed that video, I do recommend that you circle back and watch it. And why is any of this important? Like, who gives a crap about awareness, right? Well, awareness, especially interoceptive awareness, is important if we are to have choice. Because the more awareness we have about ourselves and about the world around us, the more choices we have in life. Awareness can help us decide where to focus our attention. And there's another word that's important to define. Attention is a noun, and it means, definition number 1, notice taken of someone or something, the regarding of someone or something as interesting or important. And definition number 2, the action of dealing with or taking special care of someone or something. So where we focus our attention is how we it's how we regard someone or something in our life as important, and it's also how we express care for somebody else, sometimes by giving our focused attention to somebody as what they need to feel cared for by us. And also, it can give us awareness that can change our mind. So can you think of a time in your life when you became aware of something and that awareness changed your mind? It shifted how you chose to respond, or perhaps it's what helped you solve a problem that you were facing. Maybe it was that light bulb moment that came on and you figured out how to solve a problem that had been, on your mind for quite some time. So a couple examples of what I mean by that. At one point in my life, I had these subtly increasing over several years, digestive issues. My general practitioner couldn't figure it out. He sent me to a specialist. And on my second visit to the specialist, we figured out that it was coffee. And so with conscious awareness, I chose to stop drinking coffee. And somewhere around 6, 7, 8 weeks, all of my problems had turned around. And so that 3 to 4 year buildup had gone back to normal. At another point in time, I became consciously aware that somebody I was dating wasn't being honest with me. And because of the lying, fidelity came into question, which led to a breakup, a decision I made with conscious awareness. Another point in my life, even more recently, a few years ago, I picked up a book about autism out of curiosity, and that eventually led to the conscious awareness of my own symptoms that aligned with what I was reading in the book, and eventually to my own diagnosis. So becoming consciously aware can have a big impact on our lives, and becoming consciously aware of the signals that my body sends me through that interoceptive awareness that I talked about a couple weeks ago, and learning how to interpret those messages accurately has led to healthier boundaries in my life. Healthier relationships have resulted from those healthier boundaries, and I've had fewer instances of flipping my lid. So if you saw the video about Dan Siegel's hand model a few weeks back, then you know what I mean by the flipping my lid. All of these awarenesses, and I just named a few, have made my life better, and they have given me so much more choice than I had before. So it's interoception, or focusing our attention on the inside, that allows us to become aware of ourselves, our patterns of thought, and our patterns of behavior. It helps us see ourselves from a distance in that bigger picture perspective, and it grants us more choice and more conscious control over our own lives. Now, that's not to say that you're going to gain control over others. You're gaining control over yourself and how you respond. So you're still going to get triggered by the words and the actions of other people, but how you respond is going to come through in such a different way than maybe how you previously reacted to such situations. So it's also attention that leads to our attachment adaptations. So I did a whole series of 5 videos a couple months ago on attachment and attachment styles. And to be more specific, when I say attention, it's the quality of attention we receive from our parents from the time we're born that leads to our attachment adaptations. Infants need focused attention and interaction from their parents to develop that secure attachment style that we all aim for. There's an experiment called the still face experiment that shows the importance of this attention. So originally conducted by Dr. Edward Tronick, the still face experiment has proven wrong an old antiquated belief that infants can't engage in social interaction. That's just not true. In fact, infants are extremely sensitive and responsive to the emotions, social interactions, and reactions they get from the world around them. So in the video I'm about to show you, you're going to see a mother engaging with and playing with her infant. And you're also going to hear the voice of Dr. Tronick as he narrates this video as to what's happening whenever the mother's engaging with the baby. And then you're going to see the mother turn around and look back at the baby with a still face, no engagement, just a still face. And listen to his narration of what's happening. And while you're watching this video, pay attention to what you're feeling and notice your response and your reaction on the inside. So give me just a second to share my screen here. And let's see, here we go. All right, here we go.
In this still face experiment, what the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby who's about a year of age.
I'm like a girl. Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
Yeah.
This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this. And then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, "Come on, why aren't we doing this?" Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it. They actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Okay. I'm here. What are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, would be good.
It's a little like
Okay, so what was happening inside of you as you watched that video? And what's happening physiologically between the mother and the baby as they're engaging in that play is called social engagement. And it's an aspect of the nervous system And I know if you've watched my videos before, you've heard me talk about the social engagement system as an aspect of the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. And what's happening as they're playing is the mother's nervous system and the baby's nervous system are working to coordinate their emotions and intentions. So you may have heard Dr. Tronick use that phrase in the video. That is process that he described, and working to coordinate emotions and intentions is a process called co-regulation. So when you hear me talk about co-regulation and co-regulating nervous systems, this is what I'm talking about. And it happens with you and your child, or you and your partner, or you and your friend, in any social setting that you're in. It's not only between a mother and an infant. So what I would like to ask you is to reflect on, what were you experiencing as you watched the video, and did you see yourself in any of the baby's reactions whenever the baby started to try to engage the mother with things that they did before, like the baby pointed because in the past the mom would look where the baby was pointing. The baby would try to make a noise, trying to elicit a noise from the mother, and her face was still. The baby looked away and turned away like, oh gosh, now what? So you can see the beginnings of some of these attachment styles, a little bit of that codependent, that anxious, ambivalent attachment style where, oh, I'm going to keep trying to engage you. I'm going to keep trying to please you. The turning away, the, oh, now what? The anger, the frustration, the crying, like, I want to lean in, I want to pull away. You could see how quickly that baby started to get scared. So you've heard me say in the past that attachment ruptures don't have anything to do with abuse. They don't have anything to do with whether or not we love our children. Sometimes it's life circumstances, because sometimes life leads us into a position where we're struggling financially to make ends meet. So we might be working 2 or 3 jobs, therefore not spending as much time at home with our kids. That doesn't mean we don't love our kids. It doesn't mean we're abusing our kids. However, an attachment rupture could still result from something like that, or from something as innocent as you're playing with your baby, your phone rings, and you pick up your phone and you start scrolling. Or how many parents with young babies are engaged with their phones more than they're engaged with their babies. And then we give these screens to our children way too young, in my humble opinion, knowing what I know now. And luckily, all these screens weren't available when my son was that little. And at the same time, I can see where I, as a parent, when my son was younger, got caught up in the hype of all of the new technology and not being able to see some of the long-term outcomes. So Dr. Tronick refers to this experiment as the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the bad news is that these attachment ruptures are a part of life that we all go through. The good news is that there's a chance to make amends and focus on repair. So as you saw in the video, when the mother refocused her attention on the baby re-engaged with the mother. And this is one way that we've learned that attachment ruptures can be repaired. And the ugly is when this becomes chronic and the baby never gets an opportunity to re-engage with the mother or the parent or whomever that other person is, to get back to a place of good again. So this leaves the infant's nervous system stuck in that really ugly situation. And this stuck or dysregulated state of the nervous system will stay with us throughout our lives. That is, until we develop that interoceptive awareness to get some of these signals from our body, because our body is going to keep us in this state of discomfort, this nervous system discomfort. And when we can become consciously aware of that interoceptively and what's happening, then we can have a conscious choice in how we choose to respond. We can choose to go to a therapist to repair that attachment rupture. We can choose to approach our partner if both ourselves and our partner are in a growth mindset and a solution-focused mindset. So approaching the partner will work for some of you, not for all. So look at your own situations and decide for yourselves what you're going to do to develop and grow some of that interoceptive awareness so you can start to make decisions for yourself on how to repair some of these issues that are happening inside of you. I hope this gives you a little bit more insight into how interoception and attachment and how it just kind of pulls together a lot of the information that I've given you, because I can see where it might have seemed scattered and I wanted to bring it together in a more cohesive way. Please like, subscribe, and share if you have found this information valuable. And I look forward to seeing you next time, everyone. Happy self-discovery.